Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be changing the oil on a 2010 Subaru Forester that's above me right now. So first things first, we need to locate the oil pan. All right folks, so here we've got the tranny fluid pan, so that's where that'll come out. A little bit more forward here, we've got the oil pan. I've already kind of cracked this sucker open, so it's already leaking out a little bit. But okay, so once the oil pan is located, we're gonna go and find the right socket for the oil pan. So I already know that it's a 17, but just for future reference, you're gonna just go over to your socket set and pick and choose, 2 or 3 sizes you think it could be. For me, I started out with the 15 because that's what a lot of vehicles are, but I could tell it was a little bit bigger, so I went up to the 17. So once you find that 17, what you're gonna do next is connect it to your ratchet. This will work well for, your standard oil change. If it is really, really tight and won't come off, you might need a breaker bar to attach to the bottom here to kind of hit it off and break the bolt loose. So here we're gonna attach it. Once it's attached here, you'll hear kind of a click. So what we're gonna do next is go over and finish breaking the bolt loose and empty the oil out. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna attach it here. Got my oil pan below me. Kind of loose. Okay, once it's loose, I'm just gonna grab an oil rag and finish screwing it off. Just got done driving this car, so I'm gonna be careful because it's gonna be hot. So, I'm gonna move my hand right out of the way, right when it starts coming out. There we go. So, as you can see, this oil is pretty dark. It's been needing an oil change for a while. That's really dark. So there you can kind of tell it really needs an oil change. So I'm glad we're doing this. Okay, so the oil looks like it's pretty much out. There's just a couple drips. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just barely dripping out now. So what we're gonna do next is find that bolt that we dropped down. Awesome, so as you can see, it's pretty much done dripping out. So I'm just kind of fishing here for the bolt. Okay, found it. So now we're just gonna screw back in. Okay, and something key is to wipe off this excess oil so that when you're driving, you won't smell kind of like an oil burning smell. So I'm just gonna tighten this back up just with my fingers. Grab an oil rag. So let me grab that really quick. Kind of just screw this tight and wipe off any excess oil here. There's no issues. Okay, and so once it's tightened down with your finger, I'm just gonna lower this down since we don't need it anymore. Now we're gonna tighten it, just kind of like I was saying, not too tight, just to make sure that it doesn't strip the threads. So we got it this way. All right, so now it's taking it off. We need to switch it the other way. Okay, so really quick lesson on how to change the direction of the ratchet. So if you want to take it off, lefty, loosey, righty, tighty, right? So when we're taking it off, we're going to, turn the bolt to the left. When we're tightening it, we want to go to the right. And so you're just going to flip the switch here to make it so it's going to tighten to the right. So once we flip the switch, we're going to just start tightening it. I like to put my hand right here to make it tight. So I like to get it to where I can't turn it anymore without exerting like a ton of force. So once I get that, then I just do like a quarter turn. Okay. So that should be tight enough, but not too tight. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do after we've screwed in the bolt here, wiped off all the excess oil, is replace the oil filter. So here I've got a micro guard. This is the number for it. for the 2010 Subaru Forester. So what we're gonna do next, after I've got the oil filter here, I'm just gonna set that aside. And then I'm gonna help you locate where the oil filter, the old one, is. Okay, so almost always it's right next to the oil pan here. So it looks like it's right here, kind of up in this hole here. So what we're gonna do, I usually just grab like a rag and then unscrew it that way. Sometimes you need like a claw tool to attach and then screw it off that way. But we're gonna just try to do it with our hands and see if we're able to do it, how tight it was screwed on last time. So let's give it a shot. Okay, so I've got my rag here. I usually just use rags. Like this is the same one I've been using the whole time. So I'm going to go up here and try to unscrew it. So this is to the right. Grab to the left. Okay, quick update. Go figure, couldn't find the claw tool. So I kept trying to turn it to the left and finally cracked it loose. So we're gonna just continue from there, screwing it off by hand. So let's do it. Got a trusty rag here. Make sure you got the oil catcher right here below because it's going to leak oil out. So here we go. Oil is still pretty warm, so make sure to remove your hand. We're gonna remove our hand pretty quick after we know that it's coming out. So here we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, one thing I did want to point out about the old oil filter is this gasket in here. So sometimes that gasket will get stuck up in the car. Without realizing it, you'll screw in the new oil filter and then it will have two gaskets. You really don't want that, or else you're gonna have an oil leak out of the filter. And so make sure that when you take out this old oil filter, that gasket is still intact with the old one. Okay, so here we got the new oil filter. Here's the unboxing. Here she is. So I'm just gonna kind of clean up this oil right here. Again, I hate that oil burning smell and I don't want to have that. So I'm just cleaning up any excess oil. Okay, so let's screw this puppy in. Again, we don't want to go too tight because then it'll be hard for the next person to unscrew it, kind of like it was for me to undo that, even though I eventually got it. I mean, come on. Anyway, okay, so let's screw this in. Make sure it's the right size. It is, great, okay. So, kind of like the same rule. When it gets tight enough where I feel like I can't tighten it anymore, like it gets difficult to tighten, that's when I just do like another quarter turn. Okay, now that we've got that screwed in tight, all the excess oil is wiped off of the pan and the filter area, we're gonna lower the car down, get the right oil, and fill her up. So let's do it. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do now that the car is lowered, we're gonna pop the hood and locate where we're gonna put the oil in. So yeah, let's get to it. So here's the engine oil. It says the oil type we're gonna be using is 5W30, perfect, pretty standard. So I'm just gonna unscrew this here and then see how many quarts it takes. We're gonna start with 4 and go from there. Okay, so kind of like I said before, we're gonna start with 4 quarts. We're gonna use this funnel just so that it doesn't spill everywhere. Like I mentioned like a million times, I do not like that oil smell. That smells like it's burning oil when there's really no problem, so we don't want that. So we're gonna use this funnel just to make sure that it doesn't drip over, and we're gonna start with this 4 quarts, then we're gonna pull the dipstick and see where it lands. So let's get started here. Okay, so let's start with that. I'm going to turn the key on the car just so that the oil can filter through the engine and go through the new oil filter and everything. And then we'll pull the dipstick and see where we're at. So here we go. Okay, so just turn the key, let it run for about 30 seconds. Now we're going to pull the dipstick and see where the oil's at. So I'll show you where the dipstick is. So here's where we put the engine oil in, and then here's the dipstick. So let's pull that and see where it's at. Put that back down there. Okay. Wipe it off here with our trusty rag. Dip her back in. Okay, so you probably can't see, but it's barely hitting the dipstick. So we're gonna add a little bit more oil and then try it again. All right, let's give it a shot. I got like a half quart here, so it might not be enough, but. Okay, pull the dipstick again. Perfect. It's right on the full line. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's right on the full line. So that's perfect. That's exactly where you want it. And that concludes the video for the 2010 Subaru Forester oil change. So thanks so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, then you can hit the subscribe button below, and we'll be seeing you soon. Thanks so much for watching.